Safe to say if this is bad, some Hollywood folks are gonna eat some crow. Eating crow not good. What is good to eat? The sponsor of this video is brought to you by Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon's the high protein, low sugar breakfast cereal to start your day off right. And it accommodates all manner of dietary restrictions. High protein, keto friendly, gluten free, grain free, soy free, wheat free, naturally flavored. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll just reach into the box, snack it by the pinch. In a world of eating healthy and exercising, that's one of my banes, is I like snacking on things. It's like snacking on a bit of Magic Spoon tricks my brain. It's like my brain's like, hey, thanks for the sugar. No brain, no sugar. Fooled you. I can't be the only one who does that because now Magic Spoon has Magic Spoon treats. 11 to 12 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, 1 to 2 grams of net carbs. These are light, these are easy. And it's all backed by their money back guarantee. If you're not happy with it, they'll refund your money, no questions. I like that. So click the link in the description and use my code JOHNS to get $5 off when you try Magic Spoon. Or you can scan the QR code, technology. And thank you once again to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video, especially now that people can actually find Magic Spoon at their local grocery store. Makes a YouTuber feel wanted. And now, so The Crow is the 2024 remake of The Crow. I know some people get irritated, if not angry, at calling this a remake. It's not a remake, it's a retelling of the graphic novel. Sure. Counter argument, the 1994 movie bears a much stronger resemblance to the source material, to the graphic novel, than this new movie does. And not in that, is it the foot versus the torso photo finish kind of way? Well, we're talking by a clear mile. But in this Crow movie, Eric Draven, played by Bill Skarsgård this time around, it was just called Eric on IMDb. Did they ever call him Draven? I don't remember. But Eric and Shelley meet in rehab. They break out of rehab to go do some Molly and get drunk in this penthouse. True love and all that. I mean, it might have been Molly. I'm not a huge drug connoisseur. They definitely put pills on their tongues and washed them down with beers. Moments like that are when it becomes more clear the chasm between my old man energy and the younger audiences that Hollywood's trying to reach these days. For reference, I took a picture of this and sent it to a friend. While I was at a thrift store, I saw this and almost bought it. In fact, I might go back tomorrow and get it. Just so you know where I'm coming from here. And we know how the story's gonna go. Eric and Shelley get murdered, and Eric comes back to life to exact vengeance in the name of love. So fun weekend in a penthouse, that probably was the kind of love that one crosses death for. We hear how great their love is, but do you feel it? To be fair to the movie, I feel like this movie was supposed to be longer. Just in terms of certain edits here and there, I was like, I feel like we're missing a scene. Even some of the flashbacks with those two, I was like, maybe it was more than just a weekend. Might have been a whole week, who knows? Which counterexample, maybe it was love. Because when they're staying in this penthouse together, she's like, oh yeah, this belongs to a friend of mine, but he's out of town. He lets me crash here. Also, his clothes seem to fit you. So this was just some 6'4" tall, very successful guy who can afford this place. And Eric asks no questions. Had to have been love. Only love makes you that blind and stupid. But as this movie was going on, I definitely felt a problem here. Unlike the original Crow movie, which relied on flashbacks to fill you in on the past of Eric and Shelley, so Eric can rise from the dead, punch his mirror, get his war paint on, and be ready to go by minute 16 of the film. Now this 2024 Crow film is chronological. We see Shelley and Eric meet, we hang out with them, we get to know them before they die, which even when I'm saying it out loud, sounds like a great idea. Only thing is, they're not that interesting. She seems fun enough before she just completely fucks off and disappears after she's killed. Eric just seems like a really broody, boring emo dude. I thought they did fine for the material they had. In that Jesse Pinkman and Jane hope they get past this phase in their lives before one of them accidentally ODs kind of way. And his character has kind of a weird arc. They don't play up the fact that he's this immortal, kind of navigating the world outside the rules of mortal law. No, for a large part of this film, he's this uncertain young man who just happens to not be able to die, but he does still feel pain. He gets shot, he gets his leg broken, he screams, he feels it. He doesn't really come into his immortal confidence until the last act of the movie, which by comparison, if we're comparing to the original Crow movie, is kind of like Eric Draven finally dons the Crow makeup and feels like the Crow about the time he shows up at that council to kill Skank. And while there is something interesting you can do with that, end result is it feels like wasted time. It almost looked like they were gonna play with the idea that Eric had been this specter of vengeance and so given himself over to it that he's kind of been separated from his humanity and he's starting to go mad. Then the movie was like, oh, oops, we didn't mean to. back to the action. Woo, that was a close one. We don't want a thinking piece here. That was almost disastrous. Because this movie tries to over-explain everything. Tries to over-explain the lore, tries to overcook the bad guy, like the main bad guy, otherwise known as the bad guy who actually stands out. Granted, he's played by Danny Houston. That's usually a shoe-in for having someone, a bad guy, who's going to stand out. At the very least, he's gonna know the assignment. He's gonna do the job. Think of how you think the bad guy's going to be based on the fact that Danny Houston's playing him. That's exactly how the bad guy is in this movie, with some more bullshit tacked on that just drags the movie down. I'll get to it in a second. You can peel back layers of themes all you want, but in its bones, this is the crow. When you die, a crow takes your soul to the other side, the spirit world. But if the crime is so heinous, sometimes the soul can't rest, so the crow will bring your soul back so you can right the wrongs. There we go. Boil it down, that's it. And to that core, there's the theme of love. Love is the nucleus of The Crow. The original Crow movie wasn't even that bloody at all. The James O'Barr graphic novel is definitely bloodier. But I never felt the blood was front and center. It was a byproduct. It never felt like the point. This 2024 Crow movie definitely brings blood and gore to the forefront. It's kind of revolving around it. And then, I swear to God, these are the working parts of the plot. Eric and Shelley are murdered. The crow takes his soul, I guess, to the halfway point between here and the afterlife. Shelley's soul is being pulled to hell because the big bad guy is some sort of acolyte of the devil, and he can curse good people to go to hell when they die. In order to stop that from happening and save her, he has to come back and, well, kill the people who killed them. I feel like if he just killed the main baddie who cursed her, I guess the curse would be gone. And he's only immortal and unable to die as long as he has faith in her and their love. And the moment he starts doubting that, well, he's not so immortal anymore and he can die now. Again, that is. Don't look at me, I didn't write it. Right, why not overcomplicate a very simple concept? The concept of crossing death for love. But you know, it's Hollywood. They hate romance, they hate love. They don't even know how to write it if they wanted to. It's a movie that feels like was adapted by someone who had never seen The Crow or read The Crow, but had heard about The Crow from someone and made a movie accordingly. This movie feels like the cinematic version of those guys who were dressed up like a bunch of Batmans at the beginning of Dark Knight. You have a guy in the costume, but the guy doesn't actually feel like the spirit of the character. This is a Crow movie wearing hockey pads. Best I can say it. It's easy to say on the surface, yeah, Eric Draven comes back to kill people. But you're missing the fact that he's actually kind, even funny. He's a person who loved life. Therein is the tragedy. Got Darla clean so she could at least try to be a good mom to Sarah. Shit, I feel like this guy would join in on the drug use. Even when he went to kill Skank, he gave everybody in the room the opportunity to bail.
I just want him.
Then everyone at that table chooses war and they go down. But he gave him the opportunity. I love characters like that, you know, like Eric Draven, John Wick. Those characters who will be like, you can leave. I'm not here for you. Dude in this movie just massacres folks and doesn't give a fuck. It's less likable and relatable as a protagonist. Like, who were those guys in the opera house, really? Were they high enough to know how shitty their boss was? Or are they just low-level dudes trying to get a paycheck, trying to put food on the table for their kids? And I don't need a movie like this to be a direct translation. The 1994 Crow definitely is not that. But I do feel like that movie maintains the spirit of The Crow. This 2024 Crow movie is just, well, a lot of violence, especially in the last act, a couple of interesting concepts that really didn't go anywhere. So all I see is a movie that drags on, has pacing issues, but no real feeling of payoff. Because in a vengeance movie like this, you need that feeling of payoff. If for nothing else, let's kill some bad guys and clearly know who they are. Two of the baddies stood out to me. The rest, he would kill people and I was like, was that one of them? I don't know their names. They don't stand out. In a group ensemble like this, you want them to stand out, kind of like comic book characters. So when one bites it, you're like, all right, that's another one down, 2 more to go. Yeah, I didn't clearly and concisely know who he was going after. And I thought the ending of the movie was unfulfilling. I thought it sucked ass. I don't know what to say. I left the movie theater going, are you setting up for a sequel? Or is that actually an ending you feel is fulfilling for this story. The reality of the situation is, do you go to the movie theater to overpay for a movie ticket to watch this new Crow movie, or watch the existing 1994 Crow movie in the comfort of your own home? The answer is simple, it's the latter. This 2024 Crow movie is both baffling and fascinating, by way of being very surface level simple, yet overly complicated at the same time, and gives you the feeling of, I've seen everything in this movie elsewhere. And in those movies, they did it better. You want a better Crow movie? Watch the original Crow movie. You want a better Bloody Vengeance movie? Watch Death Sentence. The Crow has one great movie, and I do profess it is great. Then there are a sequence of bad Crow movies that came after it, and those bad Crow movies have one more to add to their numbers. Couple fun action scenes aside, no one's gonna remember this movie, not in T-1 day. Yep. Already forgot. All right, so the new Crow movie, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what about the old Crow? Whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.